History is often written by the victors, but it was frequently felt by the victims in the most visceral ways imaginable. From the damp corners of the Tower of London to the sun-scorched lakes of Persia, humanity has been disturbingly creative in its pursuit of pain. Here is a look at 10 of the most harrowing punishments ever devised. 10. The Rat Dungeon, London. Located at the very bottom of the Tower of London, this cell sat below the high water mark of the River Thames. The mechanism: as the tide rose, the dungeon didn't just flood with water, it flooded with hungry, aggressive river rats forced out of their burrows. The horror: in total darkness, prisoners would hear nothing but the sound of hundreds of tiny claws. Unable to move in their shackles, they were slowly eaten alive, bite by bite, over days or weeks. 9. The rack. A staple of medieval interrogation, the rack was a mechanical nightmare designed to extract confessions, true or otherwise. The method: the victim was tied to a frame with rotating rollers. As officials turned the levers, the body was stretched until the shoulders, hips, knees, and elbows dislocated. Historical note: in 1447, an Askew was racked so severely for her religious beliefs that she could no longer stand. She had to be carried in a chair to her final execution at the stake because every joint in her body had been torn apart. 8. Keelhauling. A maritime death sentence, keelhauling was reserved for the most hated sailors. The process: a sailor was weighted and dropped overboard, then dragged by ropes underneath the ship's hull from one side to the other. The result: if the sailor didn't drown, the razor-sharp barnacles encrusting the ship's keel acted like a giant cheese grater, stripping the flesh from their back and neck. Survivors, if there were any, usually died shortly after from massive infections. 7. Crushed by elephants. In South and Southeast Asia, particularly under the Mughal Empire, the elephant was transformed into a tool of the state. Method description: the quick death: the elephant stepped directly on the prisoner's head, crushing it instantly. The slow death: the elephant was commanded to crush limbs one by one, prolonging the agony. The psychological rulers would often use this to show control over nature, proving that even the largest beasts obeyed their execution orders. 6. Impalement. A favored method in the 17th century Ottoman Empire and Egypt, impalement was designed to be a public, lingering warning. The procedure: a greased wooden stake was driven through the body. The goal was to miss vital organs so the prisoner would stay alive as long as possible. The aftermath: the stake was then planted upright by the roadside. Victims could survive for hours or even days, pleading with passers-by for water or a merciful end. 5. Pena culiae, penalty of the sack. Ancient Rome's specific punishment for parricide, murdering a parent or family member, was as symbolic as it was cruel. The murderer was sewn into a heavy leather sack. Inside the sack, they added a dog, a rooster, a viper, and a monkey. The sack was then hurled into the sea. The panicked animals would tear the prisoner apart as they all drowned together in the dark. 4. Rat torture. Perhaps the most sick entry on the list, this used the rat's natural survival instinct as a weapon. The heated bowl: a rat was placed in a bowl on the victim's stomach. Hot coals were placed on top of the bowl. To escape the heat, the rat would gnaw its way through the victim's body. The rectoscope, used more recently in the 20th century by dictators, this involved inserting a tube and a rat into the prisoner's body, forcing the animal to burrow inward to find a way out. 3. Gibbeting. Common in England and colonial America, the gibbet was an iron cage shaped like a human body. The punishment: instead of a quick hanging, the prisoner was locked in the cage and suspended 30 feet in the air. The lingering end: they were left to die of dehydration and exposure while the public watched. Even after death, the bodies were left to rot for years, sometimes decades, as a stench-filled reminder of the law. 2. Scaphism, the boats. An ancient Persian method of execution, designed to be as horrid and cruel as possible. The setup: the victim was trapped between two boats, with their head and limbs sticking out. They were force-fed milk and honey until they developed severe diarrhea. The decay: their body was then lathered in honey to attract insects. The mixture of excrement and honey became a breeding ground for wasps and parasites, which would slowly eat the victim from the inside out while they were baked by the sun. One victim reportedly survived for 17 days in this state. 1. The oubliette. Derived from the French word oublier, to forget, The oubliette was the ultimate psychological and physical end. The design, a deep, narrow vertical shaft, often so small the prisoner couldn't sit or stand. Once dropped in, the trapdoor was closed, and the prisoner was simply forgotten. The discovery. In 1900, workers at Leap Castle in Ireland discovered an oubliette behind a wall. They found it filled with so many skeletons that it took several cartloads to remove the remains of those who had died in total darkness, surrounded by the bones of those who came before them. Let's subscribe for new